they left and we were alone. The girls in my bunk were nice, and I settled in pretty fast. If I'm being super honest, it's hard to be homesick when you're at camp because it's very busy. But the only time to be homesick is at night when you're falling asleep. Believe me when I say I took full advantage of that time. Like I said, I was entirely too miserable. Looking back on it, I really can't tell you why anymore. But as I mentioned previously, I didn't have a very strong faith life. I would go to daily mass with my mom, but really it was like my body was there, but my mind was somewhere else entirely. It was the same for Sunday mass. I don't think I realized how heavily faith-focused Camp Veritas was until I got there. It didn't take long to realize, and I remember thinking, I have to spend a whole week with Jesus freaks. I genuinely wonder if 12-year-old me would be really surprised to know that I am now proudly a Jesus freak. At camp, there was morning prayer, mass, adoration, and rosary every night. Now, when I say I didn't have a great faith life, I mean when I got to camp, I had forgotten how to pray the rosary. I remember that the prayers, when I would forget the order, I would completely leave prayers out. So, rosary was a struggle, but to be completely honest, being in camp with all those people who love the Lord so much was really humbling for me. And the adoration every night, I remember asking the Lord, if you're really real, give me a sign. I really should have considered that He would do just that. On Wednesday night, because we have night group time, and there's like music and like soccer and games. And I remember I was dancing with my friends, and I was having a lot of fun. And all of a sudden, I felt really sad, lonely, confused, and upset. All feelings I hadn't been feeling a moment ago. I looked around and saw someone I knew walking alone toward the water coolers. I excused myself from my friends and walked over to them. Now, 2 years ago, I was not nearly as confident and extroverted as I am now, so I'm really impressed with myself for going up to them, which is how I know it was all the Holy Spirit's doing. So I walked up to them and I reintroduced myself because it had been a while since we met, and as soon as they smiled, all the emotions I felt vanished. That was my first experience reading hearts. At Veritas, one of the biggest events is Thursday night adoration. We have adoration for an hour every night, but on Thursday it's very different. The host is processed around and stops in front of every single person in the building, so you can have a one-on-one moment with the Lord. People have all different reactions to this because the Holy Spirit works in mysterious ways with everyone. Some start crying, others laugh. I didn't really think anything would happen to me, but as soon as I entered the chapel, my hands started shaking uncontrollably, and I knew I was wrong. Our cabin was the first one there, and we sat in the very front row. I watched as the other girls in my cabin had their moments with the Lord, and I dreaded my turn. I remember when the Lord was in front of me, I said a silent prayer. Now I know you're real, but why would you love me? I'm not worthy. That's when it happened. The best way I can describe it was like a movie. Do you know those flashback scenes where like the main character is looking like a scene of like their younger self or just like that it happened? And like they're there, someone else is here, but like no one can see them? That's how it felt. I was watching every sin I've ever committed. I felt how it made people feel, and I felt how it made God feel. I looked at the cross after, and I realized He died so I could be worthy of His love. My life changed completely. I surrendered it to Him, and He completely transformed it. I let people in, and I let my emotions in, but most importantly, I let Him in. Since then, there have been changes, but instead of reacting with anxiety and trying to run away, I embrace it, because I know that no matter what, our Lord is in control. A big thing that changed is I no longer care if someone likes me or not, because as long as the Lord is okay with me, I'm okay. I never understood when people would say I found myself and my purpose when I found God. Now I understand. Once I allowed the Lord to bring people into my life, I was able to connect with them deeper, but I've been able to build deeper friendships through the Lord. When I went back to camp this past summer, everything was different. people I met prioritized God, and they helped me do the same. It's funny how 1 week it's somewhere you didn't want to go, because it's something you look forward to every year.